Alright, in this segment, I'm going to show you how to do some really advanced zombie makeup. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for beginners, but it's really not that hard. It's just kind of time consuming. So I'm just going to start by adding a base white, but I don't want it to be that thick. And I'm not going to go so heavy on the white around the eyes, again, because I will be filling that in with different colors in a little bit, and then I'll be going over it and highlighting over those colors. So I don't want to have so much makeup, like layers and layers. Now what I'm going to do is just a little bit of shading with my purple. And this is going to give it a little bit of depth without looking too deep, and it's going to look bruised at the same time. So I'm going to come in here and do just a little bit. Now I'm taking a similar purple, but it's a little bit deeper, a little bit darker. And I'm going to do a couple highlights. And then you can even come in and lighten it up with your makeup sponge. Just so those lines aren't quite as drastic. With the same deeper purple, I'm going to go in around the eyes with a makeup sponge. I know it's really typical for zombies to have black around their eyes, but that comes later. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot around the eyes because that is what is going to be a main part of this. Is if you don't get the eyes right, it's hard to get the right look. Can you close your eyes, please? Mm-hmm. Thank you. And try and get really deep here in the creases, in the right between, in this area right here. Because the darker you get it right there, the deeper it's going to look. Now what I'm going to do is come in and make some deep wrinkles with black. And right here you could use a makeup pencil if you feel a little bit more comfortable using that for this. But I prefer to use my paintbrush and my color wheel just because I don't want to risk wiping off any of the other paint accidentally with this. But if you feel comfortable using this, they do work. Can you close your eyes? Alright, now that we're done with that, I'm going to show you the white that I'm going to put on the eyes, the highlighting that I had mentioned earlier. All right, would you look up? Thank you. And you don't want to put it on too thick right here. This time I'm going to be using a light gray. And again, just going over the eye just a little bit. We can move on to something slightly funner, in my opinion anyway. This is where we get messy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a really quick and easy way to make a really cool looking wound using this and some liquid latex. And what I'm going to do is sponge some latex on. Right here looks like a good spot. So what I'm going to do, this is some 2-ply tissue paper, and I'm just pulling both plies apart. And get it flush with the skin like this. And once you've got it on there, just a little bit more latex doesn't hurt. Just on the edges to make sure that it stays down. The more latex you put on here, the heavier it's going to be and the harder it's going to be to stay on. So while I let that dry, I'm going to give him a bite wound. And I suppose I can do that on the other side of the neck. What I'm going to be using is some colored hairspray, and I only need 2 colors for this, black and red. And this is a really nice makeup trick, very, very easy to do, and it looks really cool when you do it right. And the trick right here is, it's all in how you push down the black. You don't want to get the black nearly as deep as the red. You just barely want to hit it. You should be able to see little flecks of black coming out as you're doing it, and it'll slowly just start to change the shade. Start to look a little bit more like blood. So it looks like this latex is drying up. What I'm going to be doing is creating a gash on the top of his head. And I want to make it really deep. Best way to do that, take some black paint. Paint it on the inside of the wound to show depth. And when the latex is dry, it is definitely okay to paint over. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to show you how to make an injury similar to that out of cotton balls. It's going to work basically the same. Okay, now that the latex up here is completely set, finish painting the hole real quick. And we're going to want to sponge a little bit of purple in there, again for some depth. I'm just going to cover this part with just a little bit of white because it's going to be covered in blood in a couple seconds here, but we don't want it terribly noticeable. We'll try and blend it just a little bit. Alright, so I'm coming in and I'm going to paint this wound up here just with a little bit of blood. And again, we'll be adding more blood soon, but we need to get some initial blood inside the wound. That was a dark red. Now we're going to go just a slightly lighter red. Almost just dab the brush in there just to give Now we're going to take a stipple and stipple on some blood down here. And now I'm going to go over that with a little bit of bright red. And alright, on this one, we're not trying to do quite the same effect, so we're not going to need nearly as many colors. I'm just going in here with the dark red, pretty much just coating it in as much as I can. I'm going to highlight certain parts of his face just because we know where everything is at now. All the wounds are placed on there and painted, which means we can do the last stage of the makeup, which would be highlighting the eyebrows. And the cheekbones, definitely. So when you do this, it gives the eyes so much more depth. And give him more sunken cheekbones. We're going to highlight down here once more. But you really want to stay away from fine lines, like I was mentioning earlier. Just blend it a little bit on the eyebrows to get rid of those lines. Here comes the fun part, fake blood. So there's two ways I'm going to apply this. One is going to be with a stipple sponge. And I'm going to use this on this neck wound right here. Freshen it up a little bit. And the second way is I've got a small package of fake blood, and the only reason I want to use this is because I can control where I'm going to pour it a little bit easier. And this fake blood is nothing special. It got packaged with inexpensive Halloween makeup. Just your general run-of-the-mill fake blood. And the beauty of cotton balls and paper towels is they're going to soak this right up. So if you did miss any places, like I mentioned, that's fine, because it's going to be covered in blood later. You won't even know. Now once that's on there, you can even stipple around that a little bit if you feel like it. And here's this flap of skin that I created a couple minutes ago. See this? Completely dry now. Now that it's dry, I can tug on it and kind of make it fold or do whatever it is I want. We're almost done, and there's one thing. We know that zombies like to eat brains and people and all that good stuff, so they're going to have a lot of blood around their mouth, and so much blood around their mouth that in order to keep up with the amount of blood that would look appropriate, you'd need to keep reapplying it throughout the night. So it's best to paint a little bit on underneath it, and then just put some wet stuff over it, and you won't need nearly as much, and it'll look like there's twice as much there. And don't just, I mean, they're messy eaters, so don't just get it on your chin, and you kind of want it everywhere. Now there's no right or wrong amount of fake blood as long as it's dripping. And I'm serious, this stuff, a lot of it dries quick. If you still feel like you want a little bit something more, what you can do, take a little bit of corpse yellow from your wound tower, and it just gives it a slightly rotten look, a little bit moldy or whatever. Honestly, this isn't needed. I'm just showing you an option if you feel like your zombie just looks white and black or whatever. You can add a little bit more color by doing this. And one last thing, if you feel like your zombie looks a little bit too friendly, this is also just an option. You really don't have to do this, because zombies aren't necessarily angry, but make this one a little bit angry. And then we'll do and there you have it, an advanced zombie.